She went live on Instagram to dump me from my own apartment. Then building security told her, on stream, she's not on the lease. Her 12K followers watched her get escorted out mid-broadcast. I, 32M, never thought I'd end up being the main character in someone's live stream breakup. But here we are. My ex, Tessa, 29F, was a micro-influencer. Not famous, but just enough to live in that weird middle zone where you have around 12,000 followers, post 3 brand collabs a month, and start talking like your life is a Netflix show. When we met, she was still working as a makeup artist. Smart, funny, magnetic, the kind of person who could walk into a room and everyone turned toward her. She had that glow. I used to admire it. When we started dating, I owned a modest condo, 1-bedroom downtown. I'd bought it years before, right after I got my promotion in IT management. Nothing fancy, but mine. Tessa moved in after 6 months. Rent-free. I covered the bills, groceries, even helped her upgrade her filming setup for her brand growth. I didn't mind at first. We were partners. Or so I thought. The cracks started small. Tessa began narrating our life online. Everything, from our dinners to our arguments, became content. She'd pull out her phone mid-conversation and go, "Guys, he's being so dramatic right now. Like, tell me I'm not crazy for wanting to redecorate the whole living room." I'd laugh it off. Then I'd see the comments later. "Girl, he sounds controlling. You deserve someone who matches your vibe." She started believing them. It got worse after one of her videos went semi-viral. A day in the life of a girl dating a tech bro. It wasn't malicious, but the captions were exaggerated. "He works so much, it's like dating a ghost. He thinks buying me a ring light is helping my career. LOL. Her followers loved it. I didn't. When I told her it made me uncomfortable, she said, "It's just content. Don't take it so seriously." But that's the thing. She took it seriously. The engagement, the followers, the validation. Real life became her side project. The end came fast. One Friday night, after a long week at work, I came home to find her on FaceTime with her friend, on speaker, saying, "Honestly, I'm just waiting till I hit 20K followers. Then I'll dump him and move somewhere with a view." I stood in the doorway, listening. She froze when she saw me. Awkward silence. Then a half-hearted laugh. "Babe, it was just a joke. Don't take it literally." But I did. That weekend, I told her we were done. She laughed, actually laughed. "Oh, you're serious? I thought I'd be the one saying that." She stormed out, spent the night at her friend's. I changed the Wi-Fi password and removed her access from the smart lock app. But she still had her physical key. A few days later, she texted, "We need to talk. I'm coming over tomorrow to grab my stuff." Fine. No problem. What I didn't know was that she'd planned a spectacle. The next day, around 2 p.m., my phone started blowing up. Friends, co-workers, even my cousin. "Dude, check Instagram." Now, I opened the app. There she was, live, streaming from my front door. Caption, "Dumping my BF live. Watch me boot him from his own place." I felt my stomach drop. She was talking to the camera, hyping up her viewers, holding her phone selfie style. He's been such a control freak lately, guys. Time to reclaim my space, right? Then she took out a set of keys, new keys. You could see a locksmith van parked nearby. My name was trending in her comments. Half the chat calling me a toxic manipulator, the other half egging her on. I didn't go to the door. Instead, I called building security. Then, calmly, I turned on my own phone's camera and started recording. When the guards arrived, she was in the middle of trying to remove the old lock cylinder. Still streaming. Still smiling. "Guard, ma'am, you can't change locks here. This unit belongs to Mr., my last name. Are you listed as a tenant?" Tessa, nervous laugh. "Well, I live here." Guard, "Are you on the lease?" Tessa, pauses, looks at camera. "No. But..." And that's when one of the guards looked right at her phone and said, loud enough for every viewer to hear, "Then you're trespassing." The comments section exploded. She went pale. The guards escorted her out while she kept muttering about harassment and false eviction. Her live ended mid-sentence. When I stepped outside, I said calmly, "Enjoy the show for your fans." Then I locked the door, my door, behind her. I wish I could say I felt triumphant. I didn't. I felt empty. Watching someone self-destruct in real time doesn't feel like victory. It feels like witnessing a slow-motion car crash you tried to prevent for months. The stream went viral overnight. I woke up the next morning to 100 missed notifications. My name wasn't trending, but hers was. Hashtag lock drama. That's what people were calling it. Clips of her shouting at building security were everywhere. Reaction channels had already started dissecting it. She tried to evict her boyfriend from his own apartment? Is this performance art or a mental breakdown? Half the internet found it hilarious. The other half called it abuse masked as content. I didn't post anything, didn't reply, didn't gloat, didn't feed the fire. But I archived everything. It's funny how people's behavior shifts when you stay silent. Tessa tried to control the narrative first. She went on her Instagram story that morning and said, "I was just trying to make empowering content." He overreacted. "It was a joke, you guys." Then she deleted it an hour later. Her followers were skeptical. Comments poured in. "You literally called the locksmith on live. Girl, this isn't feminism. It's vandalism." By noon, her account went private. Behind the scenes, though, she didn't go quiet. She texted me, "You humiliated me. You could have handled this privately. Do you know what people are saying about me now?" I stared at my screen for a long time before replying. "You did it publicly." She didn't respond. Later that week, I got a letter from her lawyer, or more accurately, a family friend with a law degree, accusing me of public defamation and emotional distress. It was almost laughable. I had timestamps, recordings, and building security footage showing exactly who broadcasted what. So I sent a calm, polite email to her lawyer. Please find attached a link to the archived video and witness statements. Additionally, please note that Ms., her last name, attempted to alter locks and enter a property not leased under her name. Any further contact should be directed through my counsel. After that, radio silence. But the digital fallout had just begun. 3 of her sponsors quietly dropped her within a week. Her brand collab posts disappeared from her page. Then one night, a friend of mine, the kind who doom scrolls Reddit professionally, sent me a link. Someone had posted her live stream to her /influencer fails. The comments were brutal. People had clipped the exact moment she realized she wasn't on the lease, slowed it down, added captions like, "When your main character arc meets a property manager." The internet had turned her humiliation into a meme. And as much as I wanted to feel vindicated, I didn't, because I'd loved her once. I'd seen the version of her that was soft, human, uncertain, the girl who'd cried when her first video hit 10K views, who said she felt finally seen. Now the only thing people saw was a disaster. The building manager later told me she tried to come back once more, a few days later, with another friend recording her. This time they called the police. I didn't even have to get involved. By then, there was a note in the system. She wasn't permitted access without me present. She left before officers arrived, but apparently was crying in the elevator. In private moments, I wondered if I'd gone too far, not in action, but in how calm I'd been. When someone tries to humiliate you online, your instinct is to scream back, to fight fire with fire. But the thing about silence is, it's terrifying for people who rely on attention. I didn't have to ruin her. She'd done it herself, with perfect lighting and a front-facing camera. Still, I knew this wasn't over. She'd built her identity around being seen. And now that the internet turned away, she'd look for someone to blame. I started saving every message, every post, every legal notice. Just in case. You'd be surprised how many influencers think digital humiliation isn't actionable. It is, especially when there's evidence of trespassing and property damage. A week later, she sent me one final message. "You've destroyed my reputation. I hope you're happy." I typed, deleted, retyped. Finally, I just wrote, "You went live." Update 1.3 weeks after the live stream. I got a YouTube notification from a familiar name. My side of the story, "I Owe You Guys the Truth," by Tessa Lee. I wasn't going to watch it, but curiosity won. The thumbnail showed her sitting cross-legged on the floor, makeup-free, hair tied up, expression calculatedly vulnerable. The classic apology arc, look every influencer eventually masters. She started crying before the 30-second mark. I was in such a bad place mentally. I thought going live would be funny. I didn't realize how much damage I'd cause. He didn't deserve that. He was good to me. Then she looked straight into the camera and said my name. "I'm sorry." I paused the video right there. Part of me wanted to feel something. Anger, relief, closure. But mostly, I felt tired. Apologies lose their meaning when they're monetized. That same week, I got a call from my lawyer. Everything's wrapped up. The trespassing report is on file. The building's handled its side. You're covered legally. He sounded almost cheerful. I guess, on paper, I'd won. But it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like paperwork. Tessa's online career disintegrated faster than I expected. Her sponsors didn't just drop her, they ghosted her. A few PR agencies even blacklisted her name after that clip circulated in a creator group chat. No brand wants the Lockgate girl. She tried pivoting to self-help content, learning from mistakes, how to rebuild after public humiliation. But the comments never let her forget. Every video had at least one top comment saying, "Did you ask the landlord first?" Within a month, she deleted her entire Instagram archive. I saw her once, maybe a month later. I was walking home from work and spotted her across the street, standing outside a cafe. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, but muted. No camera, no audience. She noticed me. For a moment, I thought she'd come over. But she didn't. Just looked at me with that expression, not hatred, not apology, just exhaustion. Then turned away. A few friends told me I should post my side, that I had every right to cash in on my own version of the story, go viral for being the calm guy who got humiliated. But I didn't want to be part of the same cycle. The internet forgets fast, but it never forgives entirely. And I didn't want to build my peace on someone else's downfall, even if they tried to build fame on mine. In time, the noise died. Her account faded from people's feeds, replaced by the next scandal, the next shiny thing. I deleted the saved clips, the screenshots, everything except the legal documents. Because closure doesn't come from watching someone else crash. It comes from deciding you don't need to check the wreckage anymore. That's when I started living offline again. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in months, picked up photography, not for posting, just for myself. There's something liberating about taking a picture and not needing anyone to like it. Final update. 6 months later, she reached out. It was a short email, no greeting, no subject line. Just, "I wanted to say thank you for not making it worse. You could have, and you didn't. I'm trying to rebuild. I know I can't take back what I did." I read it 3 times. Didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because there was nothing left to say. By then, life had quietly reshaped itself. My days weren't dramatic or cinematic. They were steady, predictable. Work, gym, coffee, silence. Sometimes, on weekends, I'd walk by the park where she used to film her little OTD reels. There was always someone else there now. Another young creator, ring light in hand, laughing into a phone. Different face, same rhythm. I'd catch myself wondering, do they know how quickly the crowd that cheers you can turn into the one that laughs at you? One night, a friend sent me a screenshot. Tessa had resurfaced. New handle, new branding. Authenticity over aesthetics. She was doing local workshops on digital wellness. Small crowds. No sponsors. She looked real this time. It didn't feel ironic. It felt sad, but maybe also honest. Like she'd finally learned that attention isn't affection and followers aren't friends. I didn't hate her anymore. I just hoped she'd stay grounded. A few months later, my building manager stopped me in the hallway. "Hey, you remember that influencer girl? The one with the live stream thing?" I sighed. "Yeah. She came by last week. Just dropped off a small box for you. Said it was something she owed you." Inside was a keychain camera, the one I'd bought her 2 years ago when she first started creating content. No note. Just the camera and an SD card taped to it. Out of curiosity, I checked the footage. It was a single, silent video, a view of a sunrise from some tiny apartment balcony. No face, no talking, just light coming through the blinds, city noise in the distance. That was it. It's strange how endings really work. You expect them to come with grand gestures, closure, apologies, justice. But in truth, most endings are quiet. They just settle. And what's left is a space where you learn how to live without someone narrating your life for you. People sometimes ask if I regret not retaliating, if I wish I'd used the moment to build my own following, to get revenge. But that's the thing about living through someone else's need for validation. You realize how peaceful it is not needing any. I still keep the box she sent me, not out of sentimentality, but as a reminder. Every time I see it, I think of that live stream, the security guards, her frozen smile as the truth hit her mid-broadcast. And I think, I didn't need to ruin her. She just needed the world to stop watching. These days, no one remembers the Lock Girl scandal. The internet's moved on to newer dramas, fresher villains, another cycle of outrage. But me? I've learned that privacy, real privacy, feels like standing in a room where no one's recording, no one's performing, and silence doesn't mean absence. It means peace. And when people ask what happened between me and her, I just say, nothing really. We both went live once, just in different ways. I went back to living. She went back to learning. And that's the truest ending I could have asked for.